Welcome. It's Coach Mike again. Here's section 3. In this section, we're going to cover how our body language can affect our mindset and also deal with developing confidence. In section 2, we found that our mindset can affect our body language. But is the reverse true? Can our body language affect our mindset? Dr. Amy Cuddy, a social psychologist and the author of the book Presence, says yes. Here's Amy.
So when we think of nonverbals, we think of how we judge others, how they judge us, and what the outcomes are. We tend to forget, though, the other audience that's influenced by our nonverbals, and that's ourselves. We are also influenced by our nonverbals, our thoughts and our feelings and our physiology. So what nonverbals am I talking about? I'm a social psychologist, I study prejudice, and I teach at a competitive business school. So it was inevitable that I would become interested in power dynamics. I became especially interested in nonverbal expressions of power and dominance. And what are nonverbal expressions of power and dominance? Well, this is what they are. So in the animal kingdom, they are about expanding. So you make yourself big, you stretch out, you take up space, you're basically opening up. It's about opening up. And this is true across the animal kingdom. It's not just limited to primates, and humans do the same thing. So they do this both when they have power sort of chronically, and also when they're feeling powerful in the moment. My main collaborator, Dana Carney, who's at Berkeley, and I really wanted to know, can you fake it till you make it? Like, can you do this just for a little while and actually experience a behavioral outcome that makes you seem more powerful? So we know that our nonverbals govern how other people think and feel about us. There's a lot of evidence, but our question really was, do our nonverbals govern how we think and feel about ourselves? There's some evidence that they do. So, for example, when we smile when we feel happy, but also when we're forced to smile by holding a pen in our teeth like this, it makes us feel happy. So it goes both ways. When it comes to power, it also goes both ways. So when you feel powerful, you're more likely to do this, but it's also possible that when you pretend to be powerful, you are more likely to actually feel powerful. So the second question really was, so we know that our minds change our bodies, but is it also true that our bodies change our minds? And when I say minds, in the case of the powerful, what am I talking about? So I'm talking about thoughts and feelings and the sort of physiological things that make up our thoughts and feelings. And in my case, that's hormones. I look at hormones. So what do the minds of the powerful versus the powerless look like? So powerful people tend to be, not surprisingly, more assertive and more confident, more optimistic. They actually feel that they're going to win even at games of chance. They also tend to be able to think more abstractly. So there are a lot of differences. They take more risks. There are a lot of differences between powerful and powerless people.
Hey, working in the game industry, I didn't realize how many powerful people I met. I mean, everybody thought they could win and beat the house. Here's some more takeaways. Our body language speaks volumes about who we are. Standing in a power pose can shift how we feel. Fake it till you become it is valid. Okay, so far we've heard from Trevor how fear and self-doubt can interfere with our learning process. That Kelly McGonigal believes if we can reframe stress, it can actually physically benefit us. Dr. Aaliyah Crum made it clear that our mindset can affect our body, and Dr. Amy Cuddy says that our body can affect our mindset. So what's left? Oh yeah, that elusive elephant on the court, confidence. Most of us believe that confidence is that feeling you get that comes from winning, and that's true. But unfortunately, we cannot control winning. We can only influence winning. There has to be a better way to develop confidence than relying on uncontrollable results. The good news is that there is. We can learn to control our preparation, a process over which we have complete control. Here's what Brian Cain, the mental performance coach for Georges St-Pierre and many other professional and college athletes, has to say about developing confidence. By the way, Georges St-Pierre never lost a fight for 10 years and was the mixed martial arts world champion for all that time. Here's Brian.
That leads us to understand two critical factors about confidence. One, confidence is not a feeling, it's something that you do. And George will talk about how he learned to fake it until you make it. And before this fight with Michael Bisping, the last fight of his career, where he went up to from 170 to 185 pounds to fight for the title, and he won, becoming a 2-division champion. He said, before the fight on Saturday night, I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be nervous. This is normal. But you fake it until you make it. He said, and when you act as if it's impossible to fail, you have a transformation. You go from self-doubt into confidence. So Georges St-Pierre, the story of this great mixed martial arts fighter, teaches us that confidence is something you do. It's not something that you feel, which has been backed up by Amy Cuddy, a social psychologist at Harvard, in her great book, Presence. If you've not yet seen her TED Talk, seen by over 60 million people, about the science and power of body language, she's gone to prove that within the chemistry of your body, fake it till you make it is actually fake it till you become it. And the mistake that you're probably making is you're letting your feelings of nervousness, self-doubt, competition against another great opponent too, you're letting those feelings dictate your actions instead of letting your actions dictate your feelings. That's what elite athletes do. That's one of the first things you want to take away from this video, is to let your actions change your feelings and act as if it's impossible to fail. So number one, confidence. It's something you do, not something you feel. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. The second piece of confidence that we learned from Georges St-Pierre is that separation is in preparation, and that confidence comes from two main places: preparation and production. Because confidence is a choice. And that choice is made through preparation. That choice is made through what we call BFS: body language, focus, and self-talk. So if you want to compete with more confidence, make sure you get big. Act as if it were impossible to fail. Carry yourself like you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Realize that your confidence is going to come. Yes, it can come from production, but that's non-controllable. So let's stop thinking about production being a result of our competition, of our performance, and make our production how we hammer our success checklist. What's the success checklist? It's the process that you follow to make sure you're prepared. Confidence comes from preparation. Mental performance is the missing link to your elite performance. So confidence, it comes from preparation, not just production. It's something that you do, not something that you feel. Let your actions change your feelings, not just letting your feelings dictate your actions. Realize that you've got to control your body language, your focus, and your self-talk if you're going to compete with confidence. Because confidence, it's a choice. So let's make the right choice and go out there and dominate the day.
Confidence is a strange thing. Georges St-Pierre, every time before he had a fight, would get in front of a mirror and start telling himself, I'm the champion. I'm going to show these guys why I'm the champion. The point being, confidence is something that you continually do. It's not a one and done thing. You have to pump yourself up. That's why self-talk is so important. Here's some more takeaways. Confidence is something you do, not just something you feel. Confidence comes from preparation. Let your actions dictate your feelings. Act like a champion and become one. Some tools: BFS, body language, focus, and self-talk. All those things will help you develop your confidence. Mantras. We talked about this before about self-talk. Mantras are short phrases that encourage you to keep going. The longer I go, the stronger I get. The harder I work, the luckier I get. Whatever you want to say, whatever encourages you to keep moving forward. Fake it to become it. Again, Amy Cuddy made that really clear, that does affect your body language, does affect your mind. Reflection. When you think about what you did It helps you instill that into your mind so that when you perform, it becomes easier to do. A success checklist. You want to write down all your successes. Admiral McRaven, in his book, talks about making your bed. Check that off. That's some good thing that you do. We're trying to shift the paradigm from always looking to our errors, looking for our errors, to looking for all the good things that happen to us so that we can move forward with a smile on our face. And lastly, muscle testing. That'll be a separate little video on its own on muscle testing. But by muscle testing, you can experience right here and right now the mind-body connection. All right, that's all I have for now. Thank you for listening. I hope this has been somewhat informative. If you have any questions or concerns, get in touch with me and we'll talk about it. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.